Record.
Yep, let's see. Alright, recording.
Alright, yeah. Alright. 3, 2, 1, clap, and then we'll get it rocking, I guess.
Oh, we're going backwards this time. I like it.
Oh, what is it? 1, 2, 3, clap?
Yeah, well, we can spice it up a little.
Alright. Alright. 3, 2, 1.
Understanding the downs and distance is probably the biggest key to understanding football.
Down and distance, down and distance, down and distance.
What's up, everybody? It is Josh back with episode Trey of Down and Distance with my main man, Joe. What's going on, buddy?
I had a pussy-ass clap.
It was suspect at best.
It was a super
Probably-
pussy clap.
Probably half a second off, I would say. But anyway,
It was super soft. It was soft like LeBron
Whatever.
James soft of a clap.
well, that's another subject for another day. Speaking of LeBron, he's going to LA, I'm thinking. But that's not what we're here to discuss. We are a football show, football podcast. We're going to start with some news. We're going to start with, I guess, college. It's a little college, little NFL, little hybrid news for you. And I don't know if you saw this, but apparently NFL scouts are, and I'm going to quote unquote here, terrified of the 2019 quarterback class. What is your take on that?
What does that mean? Like, terrified? Like, it's bad? It's awful?
Yeah, I guess they didn't name names, obviously. It was all confidential. But one scout said there was maybe 3 quarterbacks that look like even worth taking in the draft. Basically saying if you didn't get your guy this year, they're already looking to 2020. So, and the 3 quarterbacks they named were Stidham from Auburn, Justin Herbert from Oregon, I believe, and Drew Lock from Missouri. So,
What about the kid from
I mean-
Michigan? The transfer? That
Well-
didn't play?
he's okay. I think Jared Stidham's going to be the best
But they
out of the group.
you haven't even seen them play yet.
Right, and I agree. I agree that that's, you never know who's going to just dazzle this year. But of those 3, I'm not even sold on those 3. So I don't even know why you would even drop those 3. Just say that the quarterbacks are subpar compared to this class, I'm guessing is what they're doing.
What about the kid from Georgia? He's not eligible?
He is eligible in 2020.
Alright. Yeah, he's a
So-
true freshman.
Right. So they're saying, and just a little foreshadowing, even more than 2019, in 2020, one scout said that from Georgia and Eason from Georgia are from the same school, but they're likely going to go 1 and 2.
What about Tua?
It's small sample size.
Yeah, but if he lights it up this year, he could steal all the thunder.
Well, then he's in that talk.
Tua's gonna light it up.
I mean, I talked to one of my clients is a season ticket holder for Alabama, which is weird because he lives in Maryland, right? That's weird. But he goes to all the games that he can anyway. He's an alumni. He said that even warming up, every ball that he's seen of Tua is a perfect spiral.
The kid's gonna be good. Colin Cowherd said he's going to be like Russell Wilson 2.0, and I like the comparison. I don't always like what Colin Cowherd says, but I like the comparison.
I mean, his ability to improvise in the game and a half, really, that we saw of him.
That was a good ball.
That ball, there was another one. I can't remember who they were playing for the life of me. He escaped like 2 or 3 defenders, threw off his back foot like 30, 35 yards downfield on a dime to his receiver for a touchdown.
And if he can perform really well in Alabama's offense because they run that pro-style offense, then the scouts are going to love him. How big is he? Does he have big hands? That's what we need to know.
I haven't asked to see his hands.
We need to know how tall. We need to know how tall he is, and does he have big hands?
I really don't know the hand size, but we can definitely get an idea of how tall he is.
If he's like
he's short. He's 6'1".
Oh, see? No, scouts won't like him.
Instantly, that lowers his draft stock around.
Yeah.
Unless he wins the Heisman.
Yeah, no 6'1" quarterback's ever gone. Oh, never mind. This year.
Yeah, that changed.
Did you see the Baker Mayfield Colin Cowherd thing?
I saw the headline, but I didn't actually watch the video or see the show.
Baker shits on him, big time.
So what exactly happened?
Colin Cowherd has been talking all sorts of shit about Baker Mayfield, saying he was pretty much undraftable, especially in the first round, because he couldn't outrun the police. And he was undersized and not athletic, and pretty much like a locker room problem. This is what he was trying to say. And Baker wore a sweatshirt that said undraftable on it to the show, and pretty much Cowherd brought up a clip of Baker like running to the he threw a touchdown pass and then ran the opposite direction to the student section on like the opposite side of the field instead of running to the touchdown with his teammates. And Colin brought it up and said like this is immaturity or whatever, and Baker was like no, there's a student section for Oklahoma right there. I was going to celebrate with the student section. He was like, also, you brought up the one clip. I threw like 5 touchdowns that game. You brought up the one touchdown I threw where I went and celebrated with the student section, not the other 4 where I celebrated with my team. He's like,
it gets old.
It's bogus.
It gets old.
And he kind of just like Cowherd keeps bringing up like all of these clips, and he ran the clip of Baker trying to outrun the cops in the interview.
Oh, he searched for all of them.
So
personally,
but Baker pretty much shits on him the whole interview. It's actually if you like uncomfortable things, it's a good watch.
I'm gonna have to take a look at that.
It is
get some popcorn and take a look.
I think it's bogus to hold the he can't outrun the cops, so he must be unathletic thing against him.
I mean, regardless,
he took like 2 steps and got tackled. It wasn't like he got to full speed. That cop's not catching him if Baker Mayfield's chugging like full fucking bore. He took like 2 steps and the cops tackled him.
I don't.
He was also drunk.
Right, but there's his, I guess, stigma around him is that he's going to be a locker room problem. I don't read into that too much. I mean, he was a kid in college. He was he walked on. He had a chip on his shoulder. He walked on twice. Wins the Heisman. I mean, who cares what he? I mean, I understand you have to be a little bit reserved. Some of the stuff he did was ridiculous, but to say that that's going to carry over into the NFL when it's a completely different environment. If he does it in the NFL, then Cowherd has all the right to say whatever he wants to say. I told you so. I was right.
We as a podcast need to be ahead of this and say that Baker Mayfield is not Johnny Manziel. I hate the comparison.
No.
It's a terrible comparison. Listen, they were both rowdy, like college fratty kind of dudes who played quarterback and were like boisterous. But outside of that, they were not the same quarterback.
Not at all.
Baker Mayfield is extremely accurate. Extremely accurate.
Yeah,
and I know
he completed like 70% of his balls, didn't he?
Yeah, and I know he threw the most screens out of any quarterback in college. Like, it's a real stat. He threw more screens than any other quarterback. But Pro Football Focus literally broke down every single Baker Mayfield throw. Every single one. And he had the highest, like, adjusted difficulty passer rating by a wide margin over every other quarterback in college football. So he wasn't just good on the screens. He was good on the 15-yard outs. He was good on all of his throws.
Yeah, I think he's not gonna light it up right away.
No,
considering the team he's on. Right. But I think he's going to be a pretty good quarterback in the NFL.
Also, Pro Football Focus did this breakdown of stats where they figured out that the stat that translates the best from college football to the NFL for quarterbacks is what's your accuracy when you're throwing to a wide open target? Like, how accurate are you when the target is wide open? Like Dak Prescott had a really good accuracy rating when throwing to wide open targets in college, and he translated well to the pros. Baker Mayfield's was the highest again by far in college football this year. When the guy is open, he hits the guy.
He doesn't miss.
He doesn't miss. I don't think it's going to matter that he's 6'1" and likes to drink beer and grab his nuts.
No.
Cleveland probably
what
needs
was his
that,
percentage?
Actually.
What was his percentage? Do you know?
I don't know what it is on that specific margin, like on that specific metric, but I know he completed 70% of his passes in general, so it had to have been ridiculous.
Right. That's insane. But yeah, NFL scouts they basically, if you didn't get Baker, you didn't get Josh Allen or Darnold, they're almost saying just wait till 2020, which I think is a little bit ahead of themselves saying that. Which probably why they wanted to be anonymous in the comment, because they don't want to look stupid when 2019 comes around and there's 8 quarterbacks that are potential first rounders.
It's just ridiculous. Like Mel Kiper gets paid and he fucking tons of money, and he goes on there and says, like, Baker Mayfield, there's no way they should take a 6'1" quarterback as the number 1 pick. It's ridiculous. It should never happen. He's the same dude who said he would legit retire from his job by 2018 if Jimmy Clausen wasn't like one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time.
All pro.
Yeah.
Right.
And fucking Jimmy Clausen was dog shit. So, I mean, what the hell does that guy know?
Well, I mean, if you watch the draft, you see him every time. He's like, well, this is who they're probably going to take here, and it's wrong every time. To the point where he's gotten up off the set. I think 2 years ago, he got like 6 or 7 in a row wrong and just got up off the set and went for a walk.
I listened to their podcast before, like all the way up to the NFL draft. I was listening to McShay and Kiper. And Kiper said multiple times, I know John Dorsey, who's the GM of the Browns, and there is no way that he would take a 6'1" quarterback with his first pick. And he was completely I wish I could chop up all of the times he said it and play them in a row.
Send it to him.
It was like
it
would be like its own hour-long podcast of all the times him saying he's no way he's going to take Baker first.
So let me ask you this, completely not off topic, but on a tangent here. Who is your favorite analyst that does mock drafts?
Ooh, that does mock drafts. I actually really do like McShay.
That's who I was gonna say.
Yeah, I like McShay. I like Daniel Jeremiah from at the NFL Network is pretty good.
Yeah.
I hate Bucky Brooks. I think he's awful at his job, and he's a scout.
Suspect.
Yeah, but probably McShay won, and then Daniel Jeremiah. McShay, good buddies with El Presidente. Little known fact.
Yeah,
Barstool
that
Sport.
is interesting. Interesting there. Okay, so enough of the 2019-2020 talk because nobody knows what's going to happen. I know they already have mock drafts and stuff like that out, but it's just ridiculous.
You watch. This quarterback class is going to be a little bit better than what they're saying. It is not going to be as horrendously bad as they're talking about.
It shouldn't be. I mean, there's some.
That kid from Michigan could
players.
be really fucking good. Wasn't he like a really highly
He's a stud.
recruited player?
Yeah.
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 It'll be better than they're saying. To say he's just not even draftable because there's only 3 guys that are even worth it and not even bring this kid up who you haven't seen play is kind of dumb. You haven't seen him play in 2 years or a year.
Well, that's the thing. There's going to be some quarterbacks that we haven't seen. You know, Baker might have been in front of him, or another junior or senior might have been in front of him. We just haven't seen everybody.
Like, Baker took a pretty big step forward this season, didn't he?
I mean, he's always been
good,
but not this good.
That's what I mean.
I mean, he's been in like the Heisman talks for.
If he came out last year,
the last 2 years,
where do you think he gets drafted?
Oh, he definitely doesn't go. He probably wouldn't have gone first round.
That's what I'm saying. He went from, let's say round 3 to fucking first round quarterback. It's a first pick.
Right.
So these guys don't know what they're talking about yet. You got a whole year. I know the defensive line class is fucking stud.
Stacked.
Yeah.
Stacked. So let's go to just start with the Patriots. First, Edelman appealing to suspension.
He's gonna win.
The idea behind it is the NFL mishandled the information. Could know by this week, next week. They said it could be pretty quick turnaround time. I was going to say, what's your opinion? But clearly you think he's going to win.
He's going to win. This happened with Richard Sherman, where he proved that the NFL mishandled the actual sample itself, and he got out of it. And Julian Edelman's lawyer has already said, like, hey, they mishandled it. Like, we have proof that they mishandled the whole process. Also, they have no idea what he tested positive for.
Right. Now, do you think he's going to win it and no suspension at all, or they're going to lower it?
They might just meet in the middle and drop it to, like, a game. But
that's what I thought. It's like a game, maybe 2, but it's definitely going to be reduced.
But they would have to, like, settle on that. And Edelman might just be like, no, I didn't fucking, just, like, take an integrity thing and say, listen, I'm not going to admit that I took any foreign substance. You know what I mean?
I mean, I could see him doing that if they reduced it to like 2 games, but if it's just 1 game, he might just be like, you know what, just settle and I'll miss a game and then I'll be back.
But that was the Brady thing.
Right.
During Deflategate, they said we would drop it to, a 1-game suspension, but Brady had to admit guilt, and Brady said, fuck you, I'm not doing that.
Yeah. That's true.
I mean, this is PEDs, so, maybe it's not really the same, but if I was Edelman,
and it would be,
I wouldn't say I did fucking PEDs, I would make them prove it.
Yeah, and it would be different, too, if he played last year.
Yeah. He might already have that stink on him. He might already have the PED stink on him, whether he wins this or not. People are going to say he did it.
Right. Outside of Edelman, we have to wait to see what happens there. Brady, NFL Top 100, was number 1 again. a lot of people mixed feelings on this.
That's voted
one
on
MVP.
by the players. It's voted on by the players.
Right.
Just remember that when you're having your arguments trying to say that, Tom Brady doesn't... No, the players are telling you he's the best. They know.
Exactly.
These are the guys that fucking play against him.
So, I don't want to say I was surprised that he was number one, but I was surprised that he was number one. Yes, the players do vote who's the best, but it just seems like there's a lot of players that would just easily go Rodgers or somebody else.
I think
just to do it almost.
I think the narrative in the actual NFL, like with NFL players, has completely flipped to the Brady is the greatest of all time side. Like in the fans world, people still give put up a fight about it. I think when it comes to NFL players, like he is universally respected as the best.
Yeah.
Between all of them. You can hear it in NFL when they do like the mic'd up or the FX, like the sound effects things.
Yeah.
The way that guys talk about Tom Brady, like he is widely respected in that league as one of the greatest, if not the greatest, ever do it.
Well, that's like I was watching First Take, maybe. I can't remember. They had some of the Eagles on there after they won, and they were talking about Brady, in the Super Bowl. They said every single time, it was an offensive lineman that said this, every single time we were on the sideline and Brady was on the field, we just expected him to go down and score because he's just that good.
It's probably Lane Johnson's bum ass.
Yeah, that's who it was.
Fuck that
That's
guy.
who it was, Lane.
That's the same guy who said the Pats don't have any fun and that it's like a terribly run organization.
Yeah, yep. It might have been the exact same show, actually, that he said that. Because they asked him about that too. But
yeah, you have him saying, like, it's fucking Tom Brady over there. And then there's when the 28-3 Super Bowl against the Falcons, there's that clip on the mic'd up thing where I think it's like Taylor Gabriel on the sideline with the other wide receiver that's not Julio Jones on the Falcons. Yeah, with Mohamed Sanu. And they're standing on the sidelines. And Mohamed Sanu's like, we got this, baby. And then Taylor Gabriel's like, I don't know. Number 12's over there. It's fucking Tom Brady or whatever. And that was right before they started like the big comeback.
Yeah, there's a lot of respect for him. And rightfully so. I mean, you can't not respect him. So you might be right. The stigma around Brady is changing around the league a little bit to, man, he really is the greatest of all time. Like, we can't even can't fight it anymore.
He did benefit a little this year because, like, who are they going to put number one? They're going to put Rodgers number one after he didn't play last year. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's valid.
He was the MVP last year. He had a really good season. He's fucking like 48 million years old. And
give or take.
Yeah, give or take, 1 or 2 years. And Rodgers didn't play. Luck didn't play. I'd be curious to see where Watson landed on that list, if he was even on it.
I don't know. I don't know if he was on it, or I would imagine he's probably on it.
It's a very short sample size.
Yeah, but he's a likable guy.
He is the Tua.
People would give him the benefit of the doubt.
He is the Tua Tagovailoa of fucking of the NFL. Very small sample size.
Yep. You'll enjoy this. So Juju Smith-Schuster, gotta say that slow. Signed a 6-figure endorsement deal with HyperX, which is an esports brand.
Yeah, he was on stage at E3 for Madden. So and he has that famous video playing Fortnite with Drake and Travis Scott and Ninja. So
yeah, he's a big gamer. He has his own like Twitch channel and all that stuff. So
what is the
I think that's pretty awesome.
What is the esport specifically for? Like, is it for a specific game or just in general?
So I don't think they are a specific game. From what I gathered, it was more like accessories, like headsets, controllers, stuff like that.
Okay, that makes sense.
Which could potentially lead to bigger things. I mean, esports is going to be ginormous. I mean, it's already pretty big, but I mean, huge.
Yeah, next year they have the Overwatch League going on right now, which is a esports league, and next year Robert Kraft owns a team there. I think a couple other sports leagues do too, or sports teams do too, and they're gonna have like straight up city-based arenas. So like,
yeah, it's gonna be huge.
When the Philly team plays the Boston team, they legit go to the Boston Overwatch Stadium and fucking play a match, and you can go and watch.
Dude, it's insane how big it's gonna be, and I think this is kind of breaks the ice. There's gonna be far more gamers that are gonna find endorsement deals with esports.
Juju Smith-Schuster, super overhyped, I think.
Really? You really think so?
Yeah, I think a little.
I don't know, man. I like him.
He's a pretty good receiver, but it's really hard to be bad when you have Ben Roethlisberger as a quarterback and you line up next to Antonio Brown.
Right. And L. Bell's in the backfield.
Yeah. Like, your role in that offense is literally like you're going to take like the fourth best defender, pretty much.
I mean, he's never...
There's like a lot of attention on Lev Bell. There's a ton of attention on Antonio Brown. Are you somewhat competent at being a receiver?
I mean, he's never going to be the number one guy. I just don't think he's that good, but he's a real solid too.
Oh, he's good. He's definitely a good receiver. I just think he is... I think he's just a little overhyped.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's going to show a lot this season.
He's going to be one of those guys who, when he hits free agency, someone's going to give him a huge contract and he's going to not live up to it. I can see it. I can see that happening.
Yeah, especially because it's going to be a team that has a huge cap, like, we'll just say the Jets.
And don't get me wrong, the kid's a star. He's going to be a star. Like, he's...
With the right team.
He's very...
I get what you're saying there.
He's very, like, energetic and charismatic, and he's, like, good with the media. So he will be... Yep. He has full-on huge star potential. So if he's your team's number one, you're going to sell jerseys. But I just don't think he's going to match the contract.
Yeah, you're right. Now that I think about it, I don't know what his contract looks like, but whenever
he's rookie deal.
Yeah. So whenever he either stays with the Steelers or if he leaves, he's gonna get paid like a number one because of the production. He's gonna. I think wherever he goes, his production's gonna be it's going to plateau basically. So whatever he does with the Steelers, if he goes to the Jets, the Browns, whoever, they're going to expect him to be the number one and boost his catches, his yards, touchdowns. And it's just not going to come just because it's a completely different situation. Like you said, he's not across from Antonio Brown, who could be doubled, or L. Bell, who knows what he's going to be doing.
Yeah, when you have all the whole linebacking core is paying attention to Lev Bell, and you got safety help on Antonio Brown's side, you just have to beat the second best corner on the team. You just have to beat him once.
Right. Yeah. No, that makes sense. I think he's going to have another good year. But yeah, I could definitely see him, I don't want to say falling off, but not producing up to the contract if he gets a a big time contract like a Julio Jones contract or something ridiculous. So, let's see what else we got. Jameis Winston, this debacle. 3-game suspension for violating the personal conduct policy after his Uber incident.
Like years ago, right? The Uber incident was like a few years ago.
Yeah. There's tons of different stories just circulating around it. I don't even know what to say about it. Like, I'm almost speechless. But I threw it in there. Now the narrative is, yes, he did grope the Uber driver. He was alone with the Uber driver, which I believe was different than the original story. So, I mean, now not only does he have the stigma that he had throughout Florida State, now we have this added on. All the hype, all the positive things that people were thinking Jameis Winston was going to be, all this negative news about him. I don't know if he's going to be recovered. He's kind of a head case, so I don't know what he's going to turn into.
So now they say he did grope an Uber driver.
Yes.
So, and he got, what, a 3-game suspension?
He did, yes.
And he was accused of sexual assault at Florida State.
He was.
So we have a previously accused sexual assaulter who groped a female Uber driver, and he got less games than Tom Brady for allegedly having knowledge of deflated footballs.
And Edelman.
Yeah, and Edelman. But I think Edelman...
Which they don't even know what he did.
I think Edelman, that's like a collective bargaining thing. Like it's like a set in stone how many games you get for a first offense PED thing. I don't think it's up to the league. You know what I mean? Like Jameis is
still suspect.
Like Jameis Winston's punishment was up to the league. Like Ray Rice's punishment was up to the league.
Right, but even so,
I think
the
it's
league's
like,
got to be like,
if you get caught with PEDs, it's a 4-game suspension, like automatically.
Right. But don't you think the league should be like, hey, he's a multiple time offender. Shouldn't he, even though it wasn't when he was in the league, but we're going to give Edelman, based on the agreement, 4 games. Winston should probably get at least 4 if we can make our own decisions here.
What happened to like the domestic violence? It's an automatic 6-game suspension.
Apparently that's not in effect anymore.
I don't think it was the league came out after that whole Ray Rice incident to try and cover their ass. They were like, "Oh, it's from now on we have these rules in place. If it's a domestic violence charge, it's automatic 6 games the first time." And then, like, a little while later, the punter for the fucking Giants, it came out that he pretty much consistently beat his wife up. And they
regularly, yes.
Yeah, and they suspended him for 2 games. And then, after huge amounts of backlash, the Giants finally cut him, and now he's no longer in the league. But they didn't suspend him 6 games.
Right. So, I mean, I just expected them to come down a little bit harder on him.
Well, he's no longer a steal in fantasy.
No, he is not.
Well, or he's like a really big steal. Like,
right. So, listen, speaking of steals, I'm going to bring this up to you, and you might laugh, but this is the report out of Buffalo. The best looking quarterback at Bills camp right now is Nathan Peterman.
I've actually heard this report, and it is funny. Because I can't wait for Nathan Peterman. This is what we talked about when we talked about the AFC East. Like, the East is just so trash that the Pats could fuck around and go 6-10 and make the playoffs. If they play Nathan Peterman, I know you're supposed to play, but just think about how awful of a decision that whole offseason is. If you draft Josh Allen and you pay money for A.J. McCarron, and you end up playing the same dude who you had on your roster the whole time who threw 5 interceptions in a single game.
In a single half.
Yeah.
A single half. So this is my thought. Nathan Peterman, so he went to Pitt, I believe, which right there, Pitt hasn't been that great for quite some time. He clearly isn't great because we saw what he did last year, and again, small sample size, but
Yeah, I mean,
enough to see that he's not ready.
To defend him a little bit, if you took every quarterback's worst game, and it just so happened to be the first game they ever played, you know how many people would never have careers that are great quarterbacks?
I don't know, man.
Tom Brady
It's not just the 5 picks.
Tom Brady has multiple interception games, like that high of multiple interception games. Like 4 or 5 interceptions in a game. Fucking games. I know he has he has like 1. But imagine if Tom Brady's first start, he goes out there and throws fucking 4 interceptions, they never let him play again, you miss out on Tom Brady. I'm not saying Nathan Peterman's Tom Brady, but...
So what you're saying is Nathan Peterman is Tom Brady.
Nope, not what I'm saying.
You heard it here first.
What I'm saying is you can't just... That's the only thing you ever see from him.
Hey man, shoot your shot.
That is not a shot I'm willing to take. I'm passing that ball.
So, I would be more... I guess it would make more sense to me if they came out and said, Nathan Peterman looks the best at Bills camp. Couple other sentences. He's throwing a lot of incompletions, but he's just not throwing it to the defense. I'd be like, oh, okay. That makes sense. Everyone else is just that bad. Nathan Peterman's just not... He's not good. He's just not awful.
I mean, yeah, they have to play him like... Nathan Peterman should take the field in the third preseason game with the starters. Because I wouldn't be surprised if he's your starting quarterback to start the season and they sit on Josh Allen.
I mean, as much as I hate that is the case, it almost has to happen that way.
I would not be surprised if they don't want to, rush Josh Allen in right away, that they just rock with Nathan Peterman for a little.
Well, you definitely don't want to rush him in. But now who do you prefer? Peterman or McCarron?
Well, McCarron has played NFL games and not thrown 5 interceptions and a half, so I don't think you can put much stock in how a quarterback looks in training camp with no pads and no contact.
Right. I think you're right, though. I think Peterman's going to be the starter at the beginning of the year. Because if it's neck and neck with Peterman and McCarron, you go with the younger guy who just, I don't want to say hasn't blossomed, but you don't really know what you're going to get. With McCarron, you've seen him in other uniforms. I think you just take your shot knowing that if it goes bad, I mean, we can throw Josh Allen in there.
I think you're going to start with Peterman, but he's going to have a super, super short leash. I mean, you might see A.J. McCarron...
3 interceptions? You
might see A.J. McCarron, halfway through the first quarter of the first game.
Second drive.
Yeah. And it will go to A.J. McCarron next. It's not going to go from Peterman straight to Josh Allen.
The thing with Peterman, he literally was not ready. I mean, he looked like a deer in headlights out there.
I think they're going to try and wait on Josh Allen as long as they possibly can. They're going to hold off starting him as long as possible and letting him build up.
Till Brady retires.
Build up some time. learning the NFL. They do not want to rush him in.
No, they don't. Well, and there's no reason to.
No, there's not.
What are you going to rush him in? You're going to rush him in to finish third in the division?
Yeah, well, third in the division is going to be. They could finish second in the division at like 4-12.
Right. So I mean, like, you're going to rush him in for that?
No.
Just leave Peterman in there.
Let him sit.
Right. We talked about this a little bit before the show. T.O. runs a 4.4. It's trying to show NFL teams he can still get it done. I mean, he looked good. He looked good running. I would just give it up, honestly, if I was him. I just don't see any scenario where an NFL team picks him up.
It looks sad to me.
Yeah. Like, you just can't move on.
Yeah, no one's going to pick up a 40-something-year-old receiver who's, like, simultaneously getting inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame, also trying to still get a job.
Right.
That's not going to happen.
Also, on top of that, now Jerry Rice is saying that he could still play in the NFL at 55.
These guys are, well, does Jerry Rice know he can't use Stickum anymore? Like, that's officially against the rules?
I mean, T.O., Jerry Rice, I mean, they're not young in football standards anymore. Like, it's a young man's game. Like, just let it go.
These guys are kind of, like, T.O. maybe. T.O. could probably, if he's still running a 4.4, he's big. T.O. is big.
He is huge. He's still jacked.
You know what I mean? So he probably could legitimately, if he's still running a 4.4, he could probably legitimately contribute to an NFL team. If he wasn't such a complete pariah in the locker room.
Maybe he's grown up.
Yeah, right.
Hey, you never know. But he's older now.
Jerry Rice, it is not even the same league as when Jerry Rice played football.
No.
The guys in the NFL now are bigger and faster than Jerry Rice.
Well, yeah.
So
they would kill him.
I don't care how good Jerry Rice was at the time. He is not still playing in the NFL at 55 unless he can run like a 4.3. I don't want to hear it.
I'm sure in the next few weeks he'll do something ridiculous, like run a 40 or something, just to prove. It'll come out he'll run like a 4.6, which is great at 55, but
dude, a 4.6, there are offensive linemen that run 4.6s.
Right, he'll die.
You cannot be a 55-year-old. You're going to run a 4.6 and go over the middle in the NFL?
Why not, you know?
When Jerry Rice played football, the linebackers were like 350 pounds. Actually, they weren't even that big. The linebackers were like 280 pounds, and they ran like 5.4s. They were big, slow linebackers. Now they're 280 pounds and run like 4.34s. They're faster than T.O.
You're right. They're faster than most running backs.
You got LeBron Jameses in the middle of the field.
Right.
Tell me Jerry Rice is going to catch a ball over the middle with like Cam Chancellor there. Although Cam Chancellor might not even play football this year, but imagine that. Imagine Jerry Rice catches a ball over the middle and frickin' Dante Hightower's waiting for him. Like, hey, what's up, bud? How those 55-year-old bones feel?
I mean, one hit and he probably rethinks it and then sits on the sideline. He's part of the team. He feels good, and then he retires again.
We really have to know what he meant by "I think I could still play" in the NFL. Like, do you mean play? Do you mean play like make a roster, or do you mean play like contribute on a regular basis?
Probably. I think what he means is he's probably quick enough. I don't think he means physical. Because I believe he said it after T.O. ran his 4.4. And I think he was like, yeah, like I could do that too.
Yeah, but the thing is, T.O. runs a 4.4 and he's like twice the size of Jerry Rice.
Yeah, he's a monster.
Jerry Rice is not that big.
Mm-mm. Nope. So, listen, before we get on to the NFC, or the NFC, how am I doing? The AFC South. We're not doing the NFC yet.
Nope.
Before we get to the AFC South, couple Vegas odds for you, and I want to get your thoughts on them because I thought they were interesting. We'll start with the most, not the most common, but one of the more common prop bets for the NFL, which is the MVP odds. Right now, Aaron Rodgers is the favorite. 13-2 odds.
All right.
Second is Brady, which odds-wise isn't far behind. He's 7-1.
All right.
Then third, you have Carson Wentz, 19-2. All right, so those are your top three.
I think that's probably right. It's really hard to win back-to-back MVPs, which is why I think it makes sense that Brady's not number one.
Right.
And if you're not going to have Brady win MVP, then obviously I would think Rodgers is the logical next step. And then Carson Wentz pretty much almost won MVP, and he tore an ACL. Right. So
if he was healthy, it was probably his.
Yeah. So I mean, those all make sense. I don't have a problem with that. I'd still rock with Brady,
okay.
But
okay. Number 4 and 5 are both 15-1. Drew Brees and Russell Wilson.
Although, you know what? I might bet the house on Drew Brees winning MVP this year. 15-1?
15-1. Every dollar's $15.
Yeah, that's a good bet, man. I like Drew Brees. Drew Brees just came off his most efficient year yet. That offense is as good as it's going to get. That defense is really good. And you know good teams win MVP. Like, good player, the best player on the best team is usually has the best chance to win MVP. And the Saints are a pretty damn good team. If Drew Brees just has like a little bit of an uptick in touchdowns, which he's done pretty much his entire... Like, last year was kind of an outlier in the terms of how little passing touchdowns they had as a team. So if that just kind of goes back to the norm, and he completes, he almost completed 70... He did complete like 70% of his passes last year. So if he's completing passes at the same rate and his passing touchdowns uptick like I'm expecting them to, and they are, the best team in the NFC or the second best team in the NFC, I don't know. Drew Brees at 15-1? I mean, what could it hurt?
So, I mean, not that I am condoning this or saying to do this, but throw $100 on Drew Brees, he wins MVP. Got a nice $1,500.
Yeah, that's a real nice return. Especially if you just consider it gone. Just like, all right, I'm spending this $100. I don't expect to win. I'm just spending it. And then, end of the year rolls around, Drew Brees wins that MVP, and you're like, $1,500 richer.
There you go. Nice way to bring in the new year.
I hate the Russell Wilson one. Don't put your money on Russell Wilson because the Seahawks are going to be awful.
So here we go. I got some more for you. Garoppolo, Cam Newton, Matt Ryan, and Deshaun Watson are all 20-1.
I don't know how you put all the same odds on all those guys.
Yeah, all the same. I thought that was interesting as well.
I don't think the 49ers are going to be as good as everyone thinks they are. So, I don't know. It's tough for Jimmy Garoppolo to win MVP, I think. Cam Newton, though, I feel like he should be a tier above those guys.
Maybe 18-1, something like that?
Yeah, and Matt Ryan, too. Because, you've seen Matt Ryan do it before. He has the offense around him to do it, to put up really big numbers.
I'm surprised Deshaun is 20-1. Even though he had the beginning of the year like he did, again, small sample size.
Really small sample size, and he's in a really tough division. I don't know. That seems. I mean, Garoppolo too small sample size.
Right.
And at least Deshaun Watson was putting up like unreal numbers. Jimmy Garoppolo wasn't even putting up unreal numbers. He was just winning games.
He was a game manager.
He wasn't. His stats weren't insane.
No.
He almost had a 1-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio.
Right.
Well, not. I think it was like a 2-to-1, but still
2-1. It's still close to 1-to-1.
I think he threw 5
He had a 4 interception game, didn't he? 3 interception game, maybe.
I don't know if he had that many in a single game, but he had he played 5 games and had. He played 5 games and had 5 interceptions, I think.
So, and then also, Kirk Cousins 22-1 and Big Ben 25-1, and that's all I have. That wrapped it up. Those two.
You know what? I know we just did the thing, and I was like, I don't think the Steelers are going to be as good as everyone thinks they are because their defense is really bad. But I have this weird feeling that Big Ben's going to have a crazy statistical year this year. That offense is going to be potent. And, I don't know. I might like Big Ben at... What was Big Ben?
Big Ben is 25-1.
So I'm making $25 for every dollar I spend?
Yep, that is correct.
Shit, I'm about to put a $4 bet. Ben Watson, or on Ben Roethlisberger, just win $100.
It doesn't hurt. Don't get a coffee one day and
bet on Ben Roethlisberger.
throw $4 on Big Ben, and you got a nice little win.
If I was gonna pick 2 people to bet money on, Drew Brees at 15-1 and Ben Roethlisberger at 25-1 would be my 2. And I'm not a gambler, so don't listen. I mean, you don't have to listen to my advice, but I like those odds on those 2 guys.
So let me ask you this: those are just the ones I added. Is there anyone else that you would, I guess, peg as a good favorite to win MVP?
Andrew Luck.
You think he's gonna? Well, yeah, I guess if
Andrew Luck is the same Andrew Luck from pre-injury, and he takes the team to the playoffs in that division, and has a good statistical season, there's an outside chance he could win. I mean, the odds would probably be ridiculous on him, but I could see Andrew Luck pulling off an MVP.
Well, I have the odds here. Let me pull them up. I just had them. Let me see what we got for Luck. Andrew Luck is 30-1.
Todd Gurley, what's he at?
Todd Gurley is 40-1.
He could do it if he has another really big year. He was kind of in the conversation last year. It's hard for non-quarterbacks, though. It really is. When's the last time a non-quarterback won the MVP?
Jeez. I don't even know. Can't even fathom a guess for you. Who would you have as better odds? Derek Carr, or we'll say Andrew Luck, we'll say Andrew Luck.
I would have Derek Carr have terrible odds because I don't think the Raiders are going to be good this year. So I would take Andrew Luck. I'd put my money on Andrew Luck before I put on Derek Carr.
Derek Carr's 28-1.
Ugh, no, take Big Ben at that point. Don't waste your money on Derek Carr. I'd put my money on Marcus Mariota winning MVP before I put my money on Derek Carr.
Mariota's 40-1, so there you go. That's a nice little.
Not that I think Mariota is gonna win MVP, but
Jameis Winston's 50-1.
yeah, the 3-game suspension really doesn't help him on that.
Yeah, that's probably going to be 500-1.
Yeah,
Soon.
Tom Brady put up like a 28-2 coming back off the 4-game suspension and didn't even win MVP. So I don't think Jameis Winston really stands a chance.
The other prop bet that we have for you is the first NFL coach to be fired. Hugh Jackson is the favorite. I guess the favorite. I don't really the unlucky one, I guess, which is plus 350.
Yeah, makes the most sense.
Adam Gase is plus 750.
Is that Miami?
Marvin Lewis and Vance Joseph are plus 1,000.
Ooh, Vance Joseph. If they get off to a bad start, I could see that happening.
I could see Marvin Lewis.
Yeah, I would put my money on those two over the big names.
I mean, he's been there forever. They've been on a downtrend for sure. They get off to a slow start. I would have to look at their schedules and see.
Yeah, I like Vance Joseph and Marvin Lewis. Vance Joseph was on the hot seat last year.
Yeah. So
I could also see is the guy from Buffalo on there?
I only have 4. I didn't have a whole list. I only saw the top 4 in the article that I read.
You know who else is a good pick actually is the Todd Bowles from the Jets.
Yep. I could see it.
I mean, that would be. I mean, you're looking at 3 bad seasons in a row or whatever.
Right. So I definitely think if I were just for value purposes, I think I would just go Marvin Lewis.
Yeah, probably Marvin Lewis.
I mean, I think it's over. I think it's long overdue anyway.
Vegas knows what they're doing with those picks though, because those are the 4 that are probably the most likely. So.
Definitely. All right, so let's go on to our little season prediction here for the AFC South.
Super good.
The way we've been doing it is the worst team to the best team. So, who do you have in the basement this year of the AFC South?
This is really tough, but I think I'm gonna go with the Indianapolis Colts.
That is exactly who I have.
And what's crazy is I'm going to go with the Indianapolis Colts, and I'm expecting Andrew Luck to play the entire season.
Yep. Yep, I agree with that.
Their defense is just so bad. They got rid of their best corners. They have a brand new coach, which is fucking tough already. They have a whole brand new coaching staff, so no one that Andrew Luck came on with is there.
Right. So listen to this. So they, as you mentioned, they got rid of 2 corners. They're better corners. They were 30th in points allowed, 29th in yards per game, 29th in passing yards allowed per game, and 25th in rushing yards allowed per game.
And they got worse on defense.
They did nothing to improve that defense.
Yeah, I'm looking at their key additions. You have a tight end, a wide receiver, and 2 offensive linemen, 1 defensive end in free agency, who I don't even know. Danico Autry, never even heard of him.
Nope.
That's the defensive end they added in free agency. Their key draft picks, you got an offensive lineman, Quentin Nelson, 2 linebackers is what I see. But not high picks.
But they were late, weren't they?
No, not high picks.
Right.
So
here's the thing. If Luck's back and he's healthy and he's close to 100%, I mean, they're going to be above, I wouldn't even say above average. But if he's not healthy, I mean, there's a really good chance they win 3-4 games again.
Oh, if he's not healthy, this team is awful. They're really bad. If he's healthy, this team's alright, but this division is just so good that they'd still finish in last.
So here's Vegas's win total. 6.5.
Yeah, that's probably right on the money. I would say 6-10 and finish in last.
I gave him
in this division.
I gave him the benefit of the doubt with Luck being back. I think he's going to be healthy. I think he's going to be good. I did it this way. If they don't have Luck, how many wins are they going to have? Probably 4 again. So I think Luck is worth 3 wins.
All right, so 7-9. Think about that. This is the last team in the division is 7-9.
Right. I mean, you got the division games, so those are tough.
I mean, twice against the Jaguars D, twice against, and twice against the Titans, who I think are going to be a really good team. I mean, that's tough.
Right. And then they play the Pats.
The Colts play the Pats?
They play Philly.
Oh.
Colts play the Pats. They play Philly. They play the Cowboys. They play the Giants.
They play the NFC East. Jesus.
Mm-hmm. They got it tough.
They might win against the Redskins. I don't even know if I would take that pick. This defense isn't going to stop anything.
They're going to be the worst defense in the league again.
Yeah, they aren't going to be good, that's for sure.
So, definitely... So, I pegged them at 7. If I were to place a bet, technically I would go over, because I said 7-9 and it's 6.5. The closer we get to the season, that line's going to adjust. So, I mean, if it adjusts a game or a half a game either way, it'll make my pick a little bit easier. If it goes up to 7, I'm playing the under for sure.
Yeah.
Because I'm either going to push or go under. They're not a 500 team.
I never thought, you would add Andrew Luck onto a team and they would end up in the bottom of the league, or their division, but this division is just so good.
Right. Real good. So who do you have third?
I'm going to go with the Texans.
I went with the Titans.
Oh, all right. I think the Titans are going to be really good this year.
See, well, that's the thing. The top 3 teams, I really could interchange them. Maybe not. Maybe the Texans and the Titans I could interchange. Jacksonville, they're close, but I honestly think all 3 teams could really be interchanged.
I might. I'm struggling to think if I want the Titans to be my top pick for this division. Over the Jags.
So we'll just go, since it's so close, I'll tell you my order, and then we'll just break down team by team. How about that?
All right.
All right, so I have Tennessee third, Houston second, and Jacksonville first. But I have Tennessee 10-6, Houston and Jacksonville 11-5.
Oh, so you have it really close.
Really close.
I honestly could see 3 teams from this division making the playoffs.
Oh, easily. easily. So do you have Jacksonville 1, Tennessee 2, Houston 3?
Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to go with.
What do you have record-wise?
Probably Jacksonville 11-5, Houston 9-7, and Tennessee would be 10-6.
Okay.
I just think
So let's start.
people are up on Houston because of Deshaun Watson and the hype, and he's got to regress a little. Like, there's no way he's that Deshaun Watson all the time.
Right. That's true. I played that factor that I think he's not going to be historic like he was when he played last year, but I think he's going to be good.
And they have maybe the worst offensive line in the NFL.
Well, yeah. And Deshaun said he's not going to change. He's going to continue. I mean, he's going to have to run for his life, so.
He's going to be running a lot.
He said
if he gets hurt, this team has nothing going for him. Like, their defense is good.
Oh, no.
Their defense is good, but it's not the Texans' defense that a lot of people remember. Like, this is not shutting people down like they used to.
Right. So I don't have this. We'll start with Houston. I don't have their schedule in front of me, but I know they have a tough start. And then to wrap it up, they play Philly and Jacksonville the last 2 games.
Yeah, that's not great.
But I mean, getting to that point, they could be honestly 10-3.
Let's see.
I looked at it as I was doing this, and there's a potential. Everyone has to stay healthy. They have to play good football week in and week out.
All right, so
which I know is hard to do.
The Houston Texans kick off their season against none other than the New England Patriots.
There's my tough start right there.
Then they play the Titans.
Right.
The new and improved New York Football Giants. Then the Colts.
Well, we'll see.
So there's a chance, if the Giants' offense really takes a step forward and Janoris Jenkins isn't a murderer,
well, his brother got charged.
There's a chance that they start off 1-3 with their only win coming over the Colts.
0-4.
Oh, and lose to the Colts?
Well, we don't know.
It wouldn't be shocking.
Maybe Andrew Luck comes back and wins MVP and throws for 12 touchdowns that game.
I mean, we are picking the Colts to win 7 games, so one of them very well could come against the Texans.
Right.
And that is
early on.
They play New England in New England, Tennessee in Tennessee, the Giants at home, and then in Indy against the Colts.
The way they lose to Indianapolis is Andrew Luck's back, 100% healthy, good to go.
Torches them,
and Deshaun has a little setback.
Yeah, well, that's just going to be... You know what? Fantasy football wise, play all of the offensive players in that game.
Yeah,
on both sides of the ball. Then they play the Cowboys in Houston. That's a tough game.
Yeah.
Then they play the Bills, so they should definitely beat the Bills. They play the AFC East, I'm guessing. So, yeah. So they play the Bills. They play the Bills, the Dolphins, and the Jets. So there's 3 wins right there. Then they have to play the Bills, and they play the Jags, then the Dolphins, then the Broncos, which that game's a toss-up, I think. The Redskins, they should beat the Redskins, I think. They play the Browns at home. That's a win.
We don't know.
Yeah, they end their season in Philly and then home against the Jags.
That's pretty tough.
That's a tough schedule.
That is tough.
They have Bills, Dolphins, Jets, Browns, Redskins that are games that I'm pretty positive they should win. So that's 5 wins. They split against the Colts. There's 6. Steal one against the... I mean, they could beat the Giants. They could beat the Broncos. Yeah, I don't know. I stick with my thing, 9-7. And that's actually... That's actually, I think, being fair with Deshaun Watson. He could really regress.
Yeah, he could. Vegas has him at 9.5. So, I mean, clearly they know what they're doing.
Yeah, 9-7, 10-6, yeah.
The one I definitely scratched my head out with Vegas was the Titans. Vegas has them at 7.5 wins.
Oh, I'm taking the over.
And according to the numbers, which basically means last year's winning percentage, opponent's winning percentage, which basically means nothing this year, really. They have one of, if not the easiest schedule in the NFL.
Let's look at this schedule. They kick off against the Dolphins, so 1-0. Then they play the Texans, the Jags, the Eagles. That's 3 tough games. Bills, Ravens. Chargers are tough. Cowboys are tough. Pats are tough. Colts should win. Texans, Jets should win. They play the Jags. That's tough. Then they play the Giants, the Redskins, and the Colts. Their schedule's not that easy. But, I don't know. They have more games that they should definitely win than I would say.
I really don't see a scenario where they don't win 9.
I think
unless something like catastrophic happens.
All right, so let's go over what the Titans did in the offseason, because they did a lot.
Right.
So the Titans, they changed coaches, first of all. They got rid of Mike Mularkey. They brought in Mike Vrabel, who knows what Mike Vrabel is as a head coach.
I was going to ask you that. What do you think he's going to be like as a head coach?
I honestly have no idea. He could be... I think he's either going to be an okay head coach or very bad. So...
I think he's going to be... I don't think he's going to be like a... He's not going to be like a mastermind, but he's going to have them playing with a lot of fire.
Yeah. He's a leader of men.
Exactly.
But the thing I really like about what Tennessee did is their coordinator hires. So Mike Vrabel is a defensive guy, and he brought in longtime defensive coordinator and a guy from the Belichick coaching tree in Dean Pease. So Vrabel brings Dean Pease, a guy he worked with, in to kind of co-run the defense with him. But he brought in Matt LaFleur I
like that a lot.
As the offensive coordinator, the guy who was the offensive coordinator last year for the number one offense in the NFL in the LA Rams. So
throwing it back.
Yeah. So I really like that hire. You get a guy from that coaching tree. What's his name? Who's the coach of the Rams? I can't think of his name right now.
Oh man. The Young Bucks. I can't think of his name.
Yeah, fuck. He's so young.
That's our excuse.
Sean McVay?
Yes.
Yeah, so you bring in the Matt LaFleur, who was the offensive coordinator there. He comes over here to be the offensive coordinator. The only reason he left was because McVay calls the plays and LaFleur wanted to call plays. So he came to Tennessee, which means he has control of the offense. He's going to call plays.
With Mariota at helm.
With Mariota at helm, and he's from that crazy offensive wonderkin Sean McVay coaching tree. So you should see some creative offensive play calling here. They add Malcolm Butler.
Yep.
They add Dion Lewis. And then they have one of the better drafts, and they get Rashaan Evans and Harold Landry. So they bolster that.
Harold Landry.
Yeah, that's a huge pick. They bolster that defense. They bolstered all three levels of their defense with the Malcolm Butler signing to bolster that secondary. Then they got Rashaan Evans in the middle. And then they got Harold Landry to help the front. So they really get 3 impact players for their defense. They get Dion Lewis, who is an impact player on offense, to go with an already good offense.
Right. Who I think he's going to be really good in Tennessee.
Yes, I do too. I think Malcolm Butler is going to be good in Tennessee.
Yeah.
So, and Malcolm Butler is not that far removed from being one of the better corners in the NFL.
Right.
And you get to pair Dion Lewis with Derrick Henry to really do like a 1-2 punch. I really like this team. And I really think
they're going to have
that Matt LaFleur, if he can get Jared Goff playing the way Jared Goff did last year, then I think he's going to really shine with Marcus Mariota, who's a way better quarterback in my opinion.
Right. Who I just think we're going to see a lot of flavor with this offense is how I'll put it. Just a lot of different looks that NFL teams probably haven't seen before.
Yeah, I mean, you imagine a situation where you see Dion Lewis and Derrick Henry on the field at the same time.
Right.
And they still have the tight end, whose name I can't remember, who's really good. Athletic tight end. Fuck.
Walker?
Yes, Delaney Walker. They still have Delaney Walker. Their receiving core is suspect. I'll give you that. They had Eric Decker last year. He didn't do much, and he's gone this year, so their receiving core is definitely suspect, but so was the Rams. The Rams had a suspect receiving core too, and they got a good amount out of them in LA. So this team is going to be good, I think. They've done the most out of all the teams in this division in the offseason to really improve, and they were a playoff team last year. So unless Vrabel crashes and burns, I would expect them to be in the playoffs again this year.
Yeah. I mean, I could definitely see, now verbalizing everything, I could see them finishing second.
Yeah.
I could definitely see that.
Yeah, I really like the Titans this year. And I think a lot of... I mean, the Texans are going to be good. I just don't know if a lot of people... They are getting a big-time glow-up from Deshaun Watson, and no one really knows what Deshaun Watson is yet.
I mean, he's the number 1 fantasy quarterback, man.
Yeah, that's ridiculous on so many levels.
Until he puts up numbers.
Yeah, you need to see, next year maybe he can be the number 1 fantasy quarterback. This year, I will gladly take Aaron Rodgers before I take Deshaun Watson. In all honesty, I probably won't take a quarterback that high, but still.
Ever. Just never take a quarterback.
I'll just wait till the last round and get like Matt Stafford.
So we have the Colts last. I'll go Texans third. I just think they're so close. I'll go Texans third.
It's not like, I mean, you're pulling you're splitting hairs really between these two teams. I was gonna go with pulling teeth, but you're splitting hairs.
Right. So we'll go Tennessee second, and that leaves Jacksonville.
And it's tough to make
winning the division.
It's tough to make a case for anyone over Jacksonville with how elite this defense is.
Yeah, I mean, the only argument I could make
is Blake Bortles shits down his leg and turns into the worst quarterback in the NFL.
You know, but then again, I said it last year, and I'll say it again. Actually, not even last year, just end of the year this year. Jacksonville just proved you don't need the best quarterback in the league to make the playoffs. A quarterback's important, but I mean, he is bad.
Yeah,
and he improved.
He's not the best, but he does enough. He's just not bad enough.
He's just not quite terrible.
Yeah. Their receiving core took a hit. They lost Allen Robinson. But their offensive line got better. And they added Taven Bryan and Ronnie Harrison in the draft, which is
huge.
I mean, to this defense already is like stupid. So they lost Allen Robinson and Allen Hurns. I didn't even think about that.
Here's the thing. They were 5th in scoring last year, which is
what was that?
Pretty good.
They were 5th?
5th in scoring.
Scoring defense or scoring in general?
Scoring in general.
That is a shocking number. I did not think they were that good on offense.
I didn't either.
Well,
I didn't either.
They were 5th in scoring. That doesn't necessarily mean offensive scoring.
Right, points per game.
Yeah, so some of that is helped by the defense.
Could be like Alabama where they scored like 9 games in a row on defense.
Yeah.
And to piggyback on that, they were 2nd in defense, which they were fantastic on defense, and they returned 12 of their top 14 players and added.
Yeah, they're not going to... This is what their key draft picks are. Taven Bryan, the fastest receiver in the draft
world
this year, DJ Shark, and then Ronnie Harrison. So, the safety. So, they did 2 defensive impact players, and then they added the fastest receiver they could find to replace 2 of their key receivers leaving. And they signed Dante Moncrief, and they signed Austin Seferian-Jenkins, who is a pretty good tight end. The big pick addition was Andrew Norwell. That's a big-time add for their offensive line, which was bad last year. It should be significantly better this year.
I'm sorry, they were 6th in points scored.
That's still... I can't believe they were that high.
They were number 1 rushing offense.
That makes sense.
And they were number 2 in rushing touchdowns per game.
And not much about that. Not much about anything that you just read is going to change. They're going to be...
Where do you think they were passing?
14th.
Passing yards per game, they were 18th. And passing touchdowns per game, they were 22nd.
Yeah, so middle of the pack to lower middle of the pack.
Yep.
Yeah, none of what all those stats you read me, you could be telling me the future right now.
Right. And probably
good
enough with that defense to win the division.
What did they go last year? What was their record?
10-6. 10-6.
Yeah. So I would give them the benefit of the doubt and say they go 11-5. I don't know what their schedule's like, but well, they play the AFC East, and they play the NFC East. So I think they're better than almost every team in the NFC East, except for maybe the Eagles, and they're better than almost every team in the AFC East except for the Patriots. So there's 6 wins. Can they beat?
I mean,
can they beat? They split with the Titans, they split with the Texans, and they split with the Colts. They're at 9 wins. So
right.
I don't know what the other games they have, but
I would venture to say they probably probably sweep the Colts. Just because it's a bad matchup for the Colts.
Yeah, they can't stop them, and they can't score on them. So
right, like the one game that Bortles is gonna look like an NFL quarterback is against that Colts defense, or I should say the 2 games.
And Bortles can put up a pretty good games when he wants to. Maybe not when he wants to, but like
not when he wants to.
He has some good games in him.
Right. He had a few last year. I don't remember who they were against.
In the playoffs, he torched the Steelers.
And the Steelers secondary was suspect.
Yeah, but he's not going to play good secondaries all year. The Jets have a pretty bad secondary. The Bills, Miami.
I mean, practicing against his own secondary helps him.
The Colts have a terrible secondary.
They don't have one.
Yeah. He plays the Steelers this year. So
right.
They play the Steelers and the Chiefs. And they play the NFC East, the AFC East, obviously 2 games against each team in their division, and then the Steelers and the Chiefs. The Chiefs are going to have a terrible defense.
Right.
So
we don't want to do that.
They lost their best corner.
Let's see. I'm trying to look up some stats for Bortles here. Season-wise.
I would say 11-5 for the Jags. He's definitely. And the stats are going to be almost identical to everything you just read about their season last year. They're going to be top 3 in defense, top 3 in rushing, pretty good in scoring defense, and, middle of the pack in passing.
Let's see. All right, so we're going to look up some stats for Bortles here. His best games, let's see, last year, against the Ravens, against the Bengals, against Indy. Yeah, I mean, all the games that he did well are teams he's going to play this year.
Yeah. So, did you know Blake Bortles had a 4,000-yard passing season in 2015?
I did not.
Listen to Blake Bortles' stat line in 2015. He went a 58% completion percentage, which isn't great, for 4,428 yards with 35 touchdowns and 18 interceptions.
This is him last year.
Quarterback rating of 88.2, which isn't terrible.
Just under 3,700 yards. 21 touchdowns, 13 picks, 60% completion, and his rating was 84.7.
Yeah, so he's, the lowest interception rate of interceptions of his career, the highest passer completion percentage of his career, second lowest attempts.
Lowest interception percentage.
Yep. Second lowest in touchdowns thrown, but they're not asking him to do a ton. Second highest quarterback rating. Actually, his highest QBR, if you go by QBR.
His highest QBR.
Lowest amount of times sacked, so that tells you something about how many times, what they're trying to do with him. He was only sacked 24 times last year. 51 times he was sacked the year he threw for 4,000 yards. He
threw for 100 less attempts last year than he did 2016.
Yeah. So, You can really
I
see.
mean, that's a lot of weight off your shoulders when you have Fournette.
Yeah, definitely. Again, none of these stats are going to change. They're going to be.
He's never going to be a 70% passer. It's just not going to happen.
No. 60% is just about the ceiling for Blake Bortles. He's going to complete 60% of his passes. Probably.
I mean, he's consistently 58.
Yeah.
He's only 25, too.
Yeah, he's going to be a game manager.
What did he throw? Yeah.
How many rushing yards did he have?
I don't even have that.
57 rushes for 322 yards. 2 touchdowns. 9 fumbles. Holy shit.
Yeah, he can't hold on to the ball. It's like Darnold.
Oh, these are how many times he fumbled the ball just in general, whether it was recovered by his own team or not. So not necessarily 9 lost fumbles, but 9 fumbles.
I mean, if it was 9 lost fumbles, we have an issue.
Yeah, that's what I thought at first.
we have a
Holy shit!
It's like, dude, you can't hold on to the ball.
So yeah,
So
Jags are going to be the best team. That's. I was contemplating Tennessee, but it's just so hard to think about that Jags defense and not being the best team in this division.
if I was gonna put money on this division, I would put over on Tennessee for sure.
Yeah, Tennessee over sounds like easy money to me.
And I would probably go over Jacksonville. I just don't think they're 9.5.
Yeah, I don't know how. What did they have the Texans at?
9.5.
Yeah, see, Vegas is buying into the Watson hype too.
They know something.
I don't know. I think Tennessee over 7 is easy money. I mean, you're taking a playoff team that did nothing but add to it and saying that they're going to win less games.
Right. I think they're just banking on Houston being better.
That's what everyone's banking on. They're banking on Houston to take this giant step forward that... That's just a lot of pressure on a quarterback you've seen 6 games from.
So if Houston's better, Tennessee won 9 games last year. They lose a game to Houston, lose another game, and you're at your 7 games.
Yeah, but I think Tennessee got better than the 9 games they won last year.
Yeah. They should have won more games last year, honestly.
I think
at least one more.
I think Tennessee is at 7.5 is. I would take that over every day of the week. I would take Jacksonville over too because I think they probably win 11 games.
That's what I have them at, 11. And then depending on what the Colts line does, see what happens. If they go up, if more news about Luck comes out and it's like Luck's looked better than he's ever done before and it goes up to 7.5 games, I'm taking the under even with that news.
I want to see what the odds are that 3 teams from a single division make the playoffs. What's those betting odds? Because I'll put money on that.
I don't know. I'd have to look.
Can you bet on that? I mean, you can bet on just about everything.
You can bet on everything, pretty much.
I want to know if there's odds for that because I would bet that 3 teams from this division make the playoffs. That no one from the AFC East is making the playoffs other than the Pats, and the AFC North is
no.
The AFC North is not good. We just did the AFC South.
Yeah, you have the Steelers.
We just did the AFC South, and they're stacked. We're gonna do the West 2 weeks from now, and you got the Chiefs, the Broncos, the Raiders, and the Chargers. I don't know.
Not impressed.
I'm not. No one blows me away in that division. The Chiefs are the worst they've been in a long time, with a rookie pretty much a rookie quarterback at the helm.
So what we'll do next episode is after we do the West, we'll do our division winners. Obviously, we'll have those, but then we'll do who we're gonna have wild card wise.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if the AFC South has a really good showing in that podcast too.
I mean, they got at least two.
There's definitely at least two playoff teams in this division.
Yeah, I'd really have to sit down and think about who would be the third team or the other wild card team from a different division. The Browns.
Not the Browns.
That's my pick.
Definitely not the Browns. To do a little preview of next week's or 2 weeks from now show, can you tell me what the over-under is for the Chargers?
I certainly can.
I want to know what their over-under is for their record.
All right, let's see. So we're gonna look. The Chargers. Where are we? The Chargers. 9.5.
Yeah, I would. I think I'm taking the over on the Chargers. That's just a preview.
9.5. Yeah. Yeah, I think they're going to be a good team.
Yeah, the Chargers are stacked.
But we'll get into that for sure next week. Anything else before we wrap up the show?
No, I'm all set.
The only thing I got is if you're a big TV show, Netflix show person, you like to binge watch shows, Last Chance U will be back July 20th. I love that show. Huge. Focusing on a different school though. They're not going to be in Scuba. They're going to be in Kansas, focusing on Independence Community College. I looked up the school a little bit. They're pretty good. They're obviously, to be part of the show, you got to be pretty good, but huge junior college. They have former players of Florida State, Texas Tech, Michigan, obviously other D1 recruits that either went there first to figure it out or they got kicked out of their school or whatever the reason is. They are now there. So we're going to go through that. If you haven't seen the first 2 seasons of Last Chance U, it's phenomenal if you're a football fan, because just what these kids do to get back into the spotlight at a D1 school is incredible. Definitely something I'll be tuning into July 20th, and I will watch the whole season July 20th if they release the whole season. So
I like the pick, football related. That's
yes, of
good,
course.
Good thing there.
I read that and I was one of my favorite shows, and of course, being football related, had to add that in there. But that is all I have for you folks. Again, the Jags gonna win the AFC South. Potentially 3 teams going to the playoffs from the South. We'll do those picks plus preview the AFC West next week. Have a good rest of the week, guys. Until next time, guys, take care.
Adios.
Understanding the downs and distance is probably the biggest key to understanding football.
Down